Hi, and welcome back to the Drama Coach podcast. Today, I'm joined by Tommy, an actor who began acting in 2014 and is now working professionally alongside modelling and commercial projects. Tommy also shares openly on social media about his experience in the industry, including how he handles negative comments and online pressure, which I think will be really valuable for young performers and their parents. In this episode, we talk about starting out, building confidence, navigating social media, and what it really takes to step into the industry today. As always, this is about building confidence, understanding, and realistic expectations, whether you're a young performer or a parent supporting one. So let's get into it. Tommy, it's lovely to have you on. You found me through your acting agent coming on the podcast recently. And I think that's quite lovely how those connections come about. So would you like to introduce yourself and a little about your journey so far?
So I'm Tommy, I'm 19 and I'm based in the southwest area of England. I started acting when I was 8 years old, just like doing musical theatre. I stopped because of COVID. COVID stopped a lot of my things I did because I couldn't dance in the kitchen or I couldn't act in the kitchen. It was very slippery. So I stopped for a bit and then I got back into it. I think I got called one day. I don't know how they got my number. And they were filming in my area. So I went along, did a bit of filming. And then connections, and they told me how to get back into the industry. So that's how I started. I did a couple of background roles, and then it led on to me getting my modelling agent. And now I've got an acting agent. So it all leads on and booking a Super Bowl commercial from it.
Yes, I saw that on TikTok. It looks so exciting. I've got some questions about that coming up later on. So I'd love you to talk a little bit more about that in a bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So, stepping up then, what shifted in, I think it was 2024 when you got represented and went much more into professional work? What shifted? What happened? How did that come about?
Well, my friend, I did like my first background role because that's when I did it was for a Christmas film, and they told me all like the background agencies, and then I met someone that I still talk to nowadays, and she was like, "Oh, you should try Ugly Models. They're great." My friend's mum's with them, so I thought I sent a little photo of myself. No, it wasn't professional at the time,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought, well, it's not going to go anywhere. And then they came back, and I got a audition/interview in London with them. And they filmed me, I did that, and then I heard in 3 days, I think it was.
Gosh, that's quick.
That was quite good, yeah, that I got it, and I was really happy. So I started doing a couple of bits with them, and then I saw Audrey posting on TikTok that she was opening an agency, and I thought, "Oh, I really want to go back into acting professionally." So I applied on the 17th of January, um, and yeah, she got back to me and I got accepted onto the agency, what was great, because never in a million years I thought I would get accepted onto an acting agency from going from modelling. And yeah, I've only been with them like a couple of months. What's been great so far, I've had a couple of auditions.
What materials did you use for those applications? Because I was talking to students about, perhaps having a monologue rather than a show reel when you haven't got one. And you were mentioned not yet professional headshots when you applied for the modelling agency. What materials did you use?
So I had my dad take some photos of against a blank wall, preferably white, they said. Just my head and body shot, that's all I used. I did like a little, I think it was like a 4-5 lines about myself. And that's really it. And then when I got into modelling, they got me on Spotlight, so I could
Yes.
apply for acting jobs with the modelling agencies. And then I got a Spotlight, was great, very expensive, but great.
Yes.
And that's how I got onto it, Spotlight. And that's how I thought, oh, I want to acting agent so I can be represented in the acting world, not just my modelling agent using it.
And I think listeners will have to be careful as well because some agents are sole agencies and some are non-sole.
Yes.
So obviously you would have checked that
Double check.
out
Yes.
so that you know if you can be represented by more than one person because you wouldn't want to upset the agency that you were already with. So well done for finding two that could work alongside each other. That's
My
really good.
Ugly Models does now my modelling, and Elite's creative casting does my acting. So when I did apply, I did ask, and they do two separate things.
Tell me more about Ugly Models, because obviously I know a bit about Elite's Creative, but
Yeah.
I'd not heard about Ugly Models before, and I just had a quick search just now. Tell me more. Tell me about that agency.
So they're based in London. They were founded in 1969. I think I remember
You
off the
do
top of my
know
head.
your stuff.
Yeah,
Very good.
I do. The Mark is the owner. His name is Mark French. And I didn't know much about them, so I did a bit of research back when I was applying. And I just thought, from a young age, this is a bit of negativity now. I was
Go
always
for it.
called like unusual, ugly. So I thought it's a perfect name for me, at the time. I was only 18. I was just still juggling in the industry still. So I thought, there's no harm in applying.
Yeah.
And, I got on. They said they loved my looks, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I
Presumably,
don't
you need to be different. So, like, when we hear model, we often think about, I don't know what it
slim.
might be, this idea of a perfect or glamorous or symmetrical or whatever. There are certain ideas that pop into our head. So, like, ugly models is like putting together two very
Words that you should,
different words.
yeah,
And I think that, like you say, to look unique is so
yeah,
exciting. And for people, I think the industry, especially today, is looking for people who are unique and who are authentically themselves. So I think
yeah,
Ugly Models is a really exciting agency to find. And I'm dying to
yeah.
delve into it a little bit more and see more about what they do. I think that's really
They definitely do
exciting.
some unique things. I don't know how much I can say what I got put forward for. I had to
Sure,
say
no,
no.
don't upset any. Well, I was talking with my daughter about NDAs the other day. We did a whole podcast on it without breaking one. So yeah, no, you just talk about. You can just talk in general. Don't break any contracts or
I was
anything that you haven't done yet.
no, I didn't do it, unfortunately. They were asking for a bit too much of what I was uncomfortable doing.
Okay.
So, so definitely, guy, if you're listening, definitely do something comfortable, what you're comfortable with.
Mm.
Don't do something because it's a job. In the acting industry, they say you have to grab any opportunity. Yes and no, because the thing I said I'm not comfortable doing with. So unfortunately, I didn't get it because I wasn't comfortable. And I
I've
rather,
done similar. I've done.
yeah,
I think it's really
because
important to know yourself. Mine was something really simple. Would you chop your hair off? And actually, I used to have quite short hair. And I was like, no, I've just grown it. I've just had my headshots redone recently.
yeah,
And I was like, that is a pain and an expense for me. And it was a small role. So I was like, if it was a huge role, probably I'd go for it. I'd be like, shave it off, whatever.
yeah,
But I think that also comes with knowing yourself, knowing what you're
yeah,
comfortable with. And the biggest thing, the biggest advice I think I can say around this is to give yourself time. Some of this can come about very quickly and you can go, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But actually, I've learned now I'm a bit older to go, give me 24 hours to think on that or 2 hours or whatever, and to know yourself. And I think that's something to be proud of that you said, I'm not comfortable with that.
mm,
Brilliant. The right thing in your comfort zone or just outside it, but things that you are willing to do. I,
yeah.
I think that's so important. Well done.
Yeah, when it comes out, I'll talk about it a bit more.
Yeah,
But
sure.
it was a cool opportunity. It would have been really good. What's the word? A good publicity,
Hmm.
if that's the word.
Yeah,
But
some
then you're
publicity.
like, with the things they were asking, I just thought it was a bit too heavy for
Yeah,
what the pay
I
was as
think
well.
that's fair.
Pay works. Pay is a lot of things, and they were not paying. They weren't paying very much for a big thing they were asking
Hmm.
for. So it was
That's
hard to say.
interesting that it might sway you. And I think it might sway parents as well, or sway that child to go, oh, you don't really want to do it, but it's actually this huge package of money. So no, it was a different agent that I interviewed who said, sometimes I say to the child, would you do it for £1? And if they say yes, then she knows that they truly believe and would like and enjoy that project. It's never £1,
Yeah.
of course it's not, but it gives them that idea of, do you actually want to do it? I thought that was quite a nice trick.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with. If you do it for nothing, you would do it for money.
Mm, interesting. Love that. Let's talk about then the Super Bowl piece, because that's all released and you can talk about that. I thought that was really exciting. I mean, fancy working with George Clooney. I thought that
I
sounded
know it was
brilliant.
such a cool thing. So it was on Spotlight. It said unique faces. I thought That's me. So I applied. I heard nothing for 2 days, and on Spotlight, if you don't hear anything, it's gone. I had an email from the casting director, like, it was automated. It's like an automated email that we didn't know, and she's like, "You need to do this, this, and that." Um, I was like, "Perfect." I did get it late at night. I think I got it at 7 o'clock on the 16th of November, if I remember the dates. And I thought, "I'm gonna do it tonight." I'm in the mood. I dressed up for the role. They do say dress for the role, so I
Yes.
did. I got my white top on,
Great.
my little dicky bow, and I did the self-tape. I think I spent 2 hours doing the self-tape. I wanted to perfect it.
Mm.
I was
Good
so
for you.
determined. I know, and I heard nothing for a couple of days. I emailed them. I was like, "Have you heard anything?" Because I didn't know it was for the Super Bowl. All I knew it was for a food delivery brand. That's it. NDA, nothing else. And nothing came about it 2 days, and I thought, "Okay." I got an email saying I got a recall. And I was like I was so shocked, I was telling my dad, my family.
Now,
I
I've got
couldn't
this
tell them.
project that I can't talk about, but I'm going
uh,
for a recall.
yeah, I don't live in London, so I had to lie. This is not good, guys, do not lie.
Well, I think as long as you're willing to put yourself up, if you're willing to foot
Yeah,
the cost, if you're starting out early and you know you or your parents can fund it, I think that's brilliant
definitely
because
do it.
then you get the opportunity. I think
Yeah.
as long as you know that you can't then say, "Can you put me up in London, please?" Then that's fine.
Yeah, I haven't some of my family live in London, so she did
Even
put me up,
better. Yes.
but
It's
not for the
great.
recall. So I went on the train early in the morning. The recall was at 1 o'clock, so I had an hour to spare, so I went round Soho, did some food shopping. I got to the recall half an hour early. And I thought I was in the wrong place because it was in this church, of all places. Yeah, it was lovely. I sat down. She gave me a script and she's like, "Oh, we've changed your role for what you're auditioning for." I
This
was like,
happens a
"Okay."
lot. I think people need to be
Yeah.
aware of this. They go super prepared and they're like, "Try this." Yeah.
And like, I didn't practice for this role. I knew my lines because I got told. So I was practicing for half an hour just over and over again. What else? Yes, we sat there, we all came together, we were all chatting, and I'm very inquisitive, so I asked too many questions, I think. And I was like, "Oh, so how many people are coming to this recall?" They were like, "Oh, 6 in your group and another 6." But I was like, "But there's only 12 roles." And I was trying to get something out of them.
I
Nothing
don't
was
think if they gave you the part, it couldn't have been. What makes you think it was too many questions?
I think the way they look at you when you're asking the questions,
Okay.
I think sometimes they're like, "This is the last question now, end it there."
No more, Tommy.
You can kind of guess it. I kind of can guess when they're saying it. Um, We did the recall, they changed my role. I didn't get the role, but I did get the role that I originally auditioned for on the self-tape. Was
So they sort of were shifting about and then came
uh,
full circle.
and then went into this room, we were there for an hour and a half. I booked my train for 3 o'clock, so I thought 2 hours plenty. I ran over, I had 2 minutes to get my train. I know. I was
Did you
running.
make it? Did you make the
Yeah, I
train?
did make it, yes.
Good.
And I even picked up a Paddington teddy bear for my Christmas present. Oh.
Oh,
um, when I was doing the recall, they were having, as it was an American company, we had the LA team on at Zoom, and it was 5:30 in the morning there. So they were all, yeah. So we had to like set it up with so many different cameras so they could watch because they were choosing us, not the people in the room. We had the first AD and the casting director there. They were really happy, they were very chatty. And it felt good. They said, "Oh, you're here by Friday." So I was like, "Okay, that's 2 days away." I didn't hear anything. I was like, "Oh
oh,
no."
so frustrating. This is it time and time again. Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, hi to the casting director and to my agent at the same time." 1 second. And she was like, "Oh no, we're still choosing people. You'll know by Wednesday." And I did hear by Wednesday that I got the job. But then I got told Wednesday, that was 2 weeks after 1 week and a half off the recall. We were filming the next Wednesday, so it was very quick.
And come round very quickly. I try and tell my actors to be prepared, have their
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
their bag, or especially if they might get a self tape or something whilst they're away. So things like technology and plugs and things to have that bag ready. It comes quick.
If I go on holiday, I take my little selfie stick with me. So,
Mm.
if I do have an audition, I can do it there and then. So I got the job and they were like, "You need to be here by Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning." I was like panicking because as I don't live in London, I had to call my auntie, be very nice to her. And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I
Oh,
got on a train on Sunday evening. I was fine on Sunday evening. I did come down with a cold on Monday morning.
Did you have lines for this, or was it,
No, I didn't, luckily, no.
that's good. Okay.
So, I did the costume fitting. I was there for 4.5 hours,
Blimey.
and they said, "Oh, yeah, it's 2 hours max," but they were very fussy, they're not when I say fussy, they want it right. We found out, so we're doing the thing. No one knew it was for, the Super Bowl at this point, no one knew. And the costume lady halfway through the day, she was just dressing me up into the costume. She's like, "Oh, you know who you're working with?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I was just doing this commercial." And she's like, "Oh, you're working with George Clooney." She's like, "Do you not know that?" I was like, "No." And she was like, "Oh, you can't tell
She probably
anyone."
wasn't supposed to tell you.
She wasn't meant to. Uh, I said, "I won't tell anyone." I didn't tell anyone, until it came out. So then I did the costume fitting, had a day off so I could rest, but that's when I came really ill. I couldn't move, I was up all night, really hot.
This is
I
so
was panicking.
ironic. I'm
Yeah, I
not
was panicking.
surprised.
So I
You
got there in
poor
the day,
thing.
and it was freezing cold. We got picked up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was, like, coughing, sneezing, and I said to the costume lady, I said, "I'm not very well, so if you just give me your my costume, I'll get myself ready. You can come and do the final bits, and I'll cover my face so you can do it." She's like, "Okay, thanks." They did get me a blanket and some heaters. I was lying on a sofa for the whole first day, and when they wanted me, I had to walk in very slowly because I couldn't barely move. I was so yeah,
Oh,
I
this
was
is
so
worse than a
gutted.
cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like I had COVID again. I couldn't breathe at one point, so, through my nose, so they had to get me, like, what's it the, like,
I can picture it, but I don't know what it's called.
the squeezy thing in my nose. I had to deblock, and it was getting better, but I wasn't feeling great. And then they all told us then at the point that George Clooney was coming the next day. We all did get told. We did get to meet him as well, what was cool.
Hooray. Because
So,
sometimes you
like,
don't, do you? Sometimes it's
no.
all recorded separately. So that's really
And
cool.
that's what I thought. We were never gonna get to meet him. So the next day we got his name was Juicy on set. So they were like, "Juicy is coming in 20 minutes, guys. We need to be ready for him." And like the kid was so frantic. He was the most chattiest guy ever. He was so sweet. He was telling me what he was doing for Christmas, what he was doing with his family, and it was just talking to me and you, Lisa. It was just
It's
so
great.
natural.
That's
And he
really
was so
lovely. And you
inquisitive
do
about
hear that
us.
mostly, don't you,
Yeah,
when you
he was
work
so
with big
friendly.
names?
Yeah, and he was just like we did get to meet him, we did film with him, but with the shot, it doesn't look like we actually get to meet him because it's done completely separately.
Yes, I wondered, and I thought I will ask you that because it's still great kudos, isn't it, to be in something with a
Yeah,
big name. But I think it's lovely and special if you can meet them. I think that's marvelous
yeah,
because we all have these people that we look up to
look
you
up to it.
to. How did you find that? Were you a bit starstruck or were you cool?
So I actually only heard of George Clooney once. So I only heard of him in Annie, the 2014 remix, or when Miss
Okay,
Hannigan mentions George Clooney, that's it.
okay.
So I actually didn't know who it was
That's a
really.
bit
I didn't know how big.
easier, I think. I think that's easier in a way.
I didn't really know what like he was in Ocean 11,
Hmm.
like so many different movies. I didn't realize. I was so shocked when I told my dad when the NDA finished when the Super Bowl came out. Uh, I was like, my dad was like, "Do you not know how big this is?" I was like, "I kind of do know how big it is, but at the same time, it doesn't feel real." And in like I had been asked a couple of times, how do I stay humble with it? Because
Mm.
people come up to me, like people like I live in like a village, and they always coming up to me and ask me how it came about, and I try and I am humble about it because it was a fun gig. It was 2 days. And they're like, "Oh, you're famous now." I'm like, I'm not really. Like, I don't know what to say when people say I'm famous. Like, because I don't think, maybe in America, a lot more people have seen my face than England, but I just don't.
I would hope you're still safe in the streets, like from this
Yes.
commercial. The people aren't going to kind of mob you. My daughters were talking recently about different people we know and fame, etc. And thinking, oh, it would be really terrible to just not be
Yeah.
able to pop to the shops without being recognized or
Yeah.
people. I think it must be really hard. A lot of actors dream of it, don't they? And a lot
Yeah.
don't want it. They just want the craft. And then
Yeah.
they are sort of lumbered with this. I think it can
But
be really, really hard.
I know quite a big actor because my family's in the industry that they do props and stuff. And I'm not going to name her because it's
Sure.
personal. But she loves her job, but she gets recognized quite a lot. And it's kind of hard for her to get recognized. And going about recognized, my video on TikTok went to 4 million views.
gosh.
And I did get recognised in the street, and I was totally shocked. Like, people coming up to me. I went on holiday to Edinburgh, of all places, and this American girl came up to me. She was from New Mexico, and she's like, "I've seen your TikTok." And I said, "Huh? What TikTok?" And she's like, "Oh, your video about your headshots." And I said, "What?" And my dad couldn't believe, no one could believe, the guy that I was helping, he was a magician holding up a curtain. He was like, "Oh, you're famous then?" And I was like, "No." And he 4 million views. He's like, "Oh, how do you do TikTok?" And, I'm not a TikTok expert, but he was asking me for tips.
Interesting. Well, you've obviously done very well for people to be
Yeah.
coming up and recognizing you. Yeah.
Well, and I've got recognised in my hometown, on the tube when I'm going for auditions. And, that's only because of one video. And a lot of the comments going on to hate was a lot of hate comments.
Yes. So before we get into that, can
Sorry.
you tell me how it feels then? Because you've obviously been recognized a handful of times in person. Tell me a little bit about how that feels, and then I'd love to dive into some of the negativity as well.
It feels unreal because I'm not a big actor. My first big gig, like my first big thing was the Super Bowl commercial. So I didn't really think anything of it. But going back to the Super Bowl commercial, it came out, and I had to keep it quiet for 2 whole months. Couldn't tell anyone. I got sent the video beforehand. I think it was a week before it went live, and, I couldn't say anything. I literally, the NDAs, I
That's
had to
so
think,
hard.
3 NDAs I have to sign, I think I had to sign. 1 for the recall and then 2 on the day. We had
And
to
for
sign
anyone
another one for.
listening who doesn't know, that's a non-disclosure agreement. Because my daughter wasn't too sure what it meant either on a podcast that she knew it what it meant, but she didn't know what it stood for. So
No,
yeah, I wish lots of those for our listeners. That will be really exciting if they have to sign lots of NDAs.
NDAs are fun, but it's really hard to keep quiet,
Mm.
because people ask, "What are you doing next?" I'm like, "Well, there's some things in the pipeline, but can't say yet."
And it can either sound a little bit up yourself, can't it? Well, I can't talk about it. Or can sound like you're making things up and you're not really doing anything. I think
Yeah,
it can be a tricky one.
so if you get an NDA, I'm not saying like you've made it in the world, but it means like it's a big thing, NDA.
Yeah.
Uh, so when people ask me like, "Oh, I've signed the NDA," and they're like, "Yeah, but that's fine. I'm not going to tell anyone." I'm like, "Yeah, but I can't. If I tell anyone, that's
Don't
breaking
risk
my
it.
no,
Absolutely not. And we didn't either when my daughter signed one, and we still haven't. Um, I've got like my best friend going, go on, tell me. No, you can't, because why would you risk that? Why would you risk having
no,
your job taken away? That's just silly. But it is hard. And for younger children as well, we were talking about this. It's really hard for them to go into school and say, hey, I had a really fun recall at the weekend, but I can't talk about it. Yeah,
no. It's really
it's
hard.
tricky.
I think someone did break the NDA on the Super Bowl commercial because we had the press there at one point,
Gosh.
on the second day when George Clooney was coming in. So I think someone did say, but we don't know who.
But
They
it
didn't
might
get
not
any.
have been anyone involved in it. It could have been someone
No,
that oh, no, they would be involved in some way. I don't know, but not necessarily
no.
the cast.
No, it would have been someone. It would have been maybe the cast or production because there was over 60 production people and 12 cast.
It's a
It was
big
quite
group.
heavy. Yeah, it was big, and we filmed in this massive manor house in the middle of nowhere. Um, it was crazy. We
So,
had one room. You go
sorry, go on.
no.
What surprised you the most about this? Because it was quite big. Was there anything that you're like, oh, I didn't expect that once you knew you were working with George Clooney?
He kept getting told off for talking because he was talking too much to me. Well, he was talking. Well, I was sat next to him, so I was very lucky. Not everyone, because the table was huge, so not everyone got to speak to him. So I'm very grateful that I did. And he kept getting told off to stop talking. I thought he would be a bit more not professional, but not talking to. I thought he would keep himself to himself, but he was like coming round and greeting us as him. He was, "Oh, my
That's
name's
really
George. Nice
nice.
to meet you." So I think, yeah, he was very natural. It was quite a big operation. Like, we weren't allowed to go and get our food. They brought the food to us. So it was like being waited on. I felt really bad when I was ill. I kept asking for things. I said, "Well, I'll try and get it myself." They're like, "No, no, no, you stay there and we'll get it."
I think
And it's
that's
like,
hard as a helpful, natural person. So when I've been on some, like an independent film set, I've wanted to help, and I've like, oh, let me, and they're like, no, you because you need to hit your marks and know what you're doing, and it did feel a bit like princess treatment, and for my daughters as well, when it's cold and people are bringing them coats. We're not really used to that. We're used to mucking in and helping out,
yeah.
and it's strange, isn't it, to suddenly go,
They would
okay,
take
they
my
just
blanket
need to do
off
this.
me. Like, we had a blanket under the table, they would take it off me before she, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll just go, no, we'll take it and hold it and then bring it back." And it just felt like For the 2 days I did it, I felt like royalty or,
Oh,
like, high
nice.
up, and it was so nice because if you wanted a drink, you didn't get it, they got it for you. And if you needed anything, they would sort it.
Do you think it's difficult for people who've had that? So, you, like you said, that was only 2 days. If people have that for a longer project or are performing to thousands or whatever, you have this high either being treated brilliantly or the center of attention or whatever. Do you think it's hard then when you come out of that and haven't got a job lined up to go straight back to?
Yeah, when I came out, I had no job for 6 weeks. No acting jobs for 6 weeks. And, the next thing I did was a HelloFresh thing, and I was the main cast in that as well, but it was just for social media. So it felt a bit different, you know? So it was really hard to having a great hit, high, a Super Bowl commercial with George Clooney, and then doing nothing for 6 weeks, and then going on and getting used to what you have to do, like getting your own drinks, getting yourself these kind of things, then just asking someone,
Never a dull moment in the acting world. So you go from
"No,"
sort of one extreme to the other.
to the
And was
next.
this both through your acting agent or modeling or one?
Modelling. So
Yeah.
I filmed it on the 12th and 13th of December, and then I saw Audrey on TikTok in the early
Yes, of
January.
course. That's newer for you. Yeah, beg your pardon. So
Yeah.
this was both through your modeling agency.
Yeah,
So exciting.
I
What
know.
was the biggest thing then you think you learnt from the experience of being in a big commercial?
It's long. You know, we were there at 5:30 in the morning, and we didn't leave till 9 o'clock at night on the first day. And that's a long time to be sat in a chair, because that's all we did, sit in a chair. We didn't really move much in the commercial. Repeating the same things, you know, we were clapping quite a lot of saying the same thing. It did get very repetitive, and when you wanted a break sometimes, you just want to, like, to sit there, listen to some music and relax, but as it's such a tight schedule, you can't. So you just kinda have to, like, rest your head and not talk for a bit
Especially
until
when
you're
you're feeling ill. That's even
yeah,
worse, isn't
I
it?
couldn't,
Yeah.
people were being everyone, even the cast members were being so helpful and I was like, "Oh, it's okay," and they're like, "Do you need a tissue? Do you need this?" And it was like, "Yeah, I do, but
I
I don't,
do, but
like,
I
keep
don't want to say.
asking."
Oh, bless you.
As we had a stand-in for George, he was really helpful. Like, he would go and get me when the ADs went there, he was go and get me a drink or go and get me a tissue. And I sent an email to his agent, well, it's a background artist thing, to
Mm.
say how nice he was for those 2
Oh,
days.
good for you. I think spreading this nice, happy helpfulness is so good in the industry because there can be
Yeah,
so much negativity. I think that's really great that off your own bat you thought, I'll
yeah.
contact them and say thank you. Well done.
Because we got all the details for every single person's agent in, like, the call sheet. So I thought, I don't know if I was meant to do it, but I wasn't breaking any,
I
like, it
think
was
when
I
it's
would
positive, exactly, you're not breaking any rules. I think to
no,
reach out. I think connections are one of the most important thing in the
yeah.
acting industry.
So I
Definitely.
got to
All
work
right,
with, do you know
go
Yorgos
on.
Lanthimos? Do
No,
you know how
tell me more.
he's like a he fil have you heard of Pagoda, I think is how you say it?
It does ring a bell.
Yeah, he directed that. So he directed this commercial, and he was like, "I remember everyone's faces." He handpicked us. I'm thinking, fingers crossed for any future things, he'll remember us.
Yes, brilliant. Get on these people's radars. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely, and, but going back to the thing about social media, following directors and actors is such a good way to connect because and casting directors, because you might never know, you might never apply to anything for them, but you might come up on their feed and think, "Oh, he's perfect. Let's contact him for a self-tape."
My husband and I are working on something at the moment all about connections between both the actors and the crew in the industry, because again, that is the most important thing. And we can all, with the best will in the world, keep a spreadsheet of who we spoke to and things. But when you've actually got something that maps those connections, it is really useful. So hopefully
Yeah.
that will be seeing the light of day soon. So
Yeah.
so we've gone from the positives. Let's move on and talk about the negatives if you're happy to.
Yeah, of
You
course.
haven't had the best time online. It hasn't all been,
No.
I think you called it fluffy. I've had quite a fluffy time online so far, but there has been hints of negativity, which I've not enjoyed. Tell us
Right.
about the non fluffy side and how you deal with that.
Going viral overnight, a lot of there was, for the first couple of hours, I went to, like, I want to say 100 to 200K, so I could reply to the comments, but there was only, like, I think 400. I thought, "I'm gonna reply to them all, I'm gonna defeat the
Good
hate."
for you.
But I couldn't. I had over
No.
17.5K comments. I couldn't reply to all of them. it was a struggle. It happened over a week, and that's when I went off holiday, and it was a real struggle for my mental health. Um, so I turned the comments off.
Good.
And then they realized that they were going on to other videos to comment the same things they were going to comment on other videos. So you never can get away with them, away from trolls. If they hit your page, they hit your page. When I mean hit, I mean they found your page,
Yeah.
you know,
But
and if
how
they
do
don't
you
like
deal
it,
with that? So they're obviously all over your page all of a sudden. What do you
no, I
do?
try and delete the comments, or I just try and think, who are these people? They have no profile picture. They have a random username that's like user205. I'm like, sorry, who are you? I don't know who you are. So why would it affect me in a way? Because these people don't know who I am. They don't know what they're saying. So I try and not let it affect what I'm doing.
Yeah, they're very anonymous. The couple that I've had, like my husband said to me, "Oh, I bet you, Lise, they'll be like faceless and nameless." And I looked, I was like, "Yes, they are." Said, "Well,
Yeah.
there are you actors being brave, sharing your work or trying to share your coaching online and trying to help people and spread joy. And then there is always going to be some people that want to fight that." So how you talk about how you dealt with it practically, switching off the comments,
Mm.
that sort of thing. Like you tried and you couldn't reply to them, or switching off the comments. How do you deal with that personally? What do you do to look after yourself?
But that's a really hard question because I've been bullied since primary school. I was bullied through my whole half my second school. So I moved schools and it happened
Gosh.
again. So I'm kind of used to it in real life. So I'm just thinking, these people online, I don't know who they are, so I shouldn't let it affect me. But when I had it in person, it was much harder to cope with. Um,
So what would you
so it's
do
really
then? Because again, there
probably
are young listeners. What can you advise them?
definitely don't give up. So if someone's hating on you about like your acting's not great, don't listen to them. Just think you'll do what you're gonna do. And if it turns out good, it turns out good. And if you don't get a role for whatever reason, casting directors can be very specific. They want certain
Yeah.
looks. It's not just because of you. They could have four people that look like you, but one's got a blue eye and I've got a green eye, and they choose the blue eye person because that's what they're. So it's all. Don't take things personally. Rejection is really hard in this industry, and then with hate, it's all rejection, I guess. Just don't let it defeat you.
Or is it though? I've noticed this again. If my daughter's had some negative comments in real life, I was like, "Oh, this girl is noticing you an awful lot."
Yeah, they do.
They've noticed you. They've stopped to comment. Okay, it's negative and that's awful. But I like to sort of switch it and go, well, what a horrible time they must be having then for them to
Yeah,
be spouting hate. And they've clearly noticed you. It's a form of flattery in a way. If you can flip that mindset,
Yeah,
they've
definitely. I have a
they've
permanent
noticed
troll
you.
that's from my college. He follows me and he trolls on every single comment, every single video I post. He's always there. He's like always the first comment. And I'm thinking, I do know who this person is. He was in my college, but he has so much time for me. So it must mean
Yeah.
I'm doing something great.
Exactly. I do. It's hard. It is so hard, but I do try and reframe. I talk a lot about rejection in a solo episode, and I do talk about reframing it to protection or redirection. But when people are literally coming at you with horrible stuff, I think a lot of yours was about looks as
Yeah,
well, wasn't it? They were saying horrible things about get rid of your curly hair. I was like, that just
I get
seems
some of the
ridiculous.
comments. So
If
like
you're
one of
happy
the
to share them,
Yeah, so let me go from there's someone. It was a cast. I saw someone do a trend on TikTok, post your headshots and see what if you're a casting director, what would you cast me as?
yeah, I think that's really useful.
I didn't think it was going to go viral at all. I just thought this person's only got 100 views. Mine's not going to go much more. But the hate comments started trickling in, so it went even more. One comment said, this was from D6SG, a load of numbers, so I don't know who that
Yeah,
is. A
who
pig
knows?
on the film Animal Farm. Never heard of Animal Farm, but I could dress up as a pig, you know?
So
It's just,
irrelevant and unhelpful.
I know. This one, his name is Hazza Bazaza. He put the lad who eats choco cake in Matilda. He doesn't even know the name. He could have done a bit of
We
research.
love Bruce. I think Bruce
I
is
know.
fantastic.
Um, the other one, I'd cast you in a McDonald's ad, if that's okay. What's wrong with I don't eat McDonald's personally, but what's wrong getting casted in a McDonald's commercial?
Exactly.
It's
I'm a
work.
vegetarian and I'd probably take it.
Yeah,
Actually, they do some veggie bits now.
I did get asked to do a McDonald's commercial, but you had to eat a chicken burger, and again, I'm vegetarian too, so I said I
See,
couldn't.
I'm into so I'm a vegetarian, not for ethical reasons. I just don't like meat, never liked the texture. And I did think this the other day. I was like, oh, I don't know if it was something on Spotlight. I thought, would I? And I think terribly, I was like, well, if the money was right, I probably would, to be honest, because I've had meat by accident before or whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
I might do. I don't know. We'll wait and see when that happens.
That
But
goes
again, it
back to the
has to
first thing
be on your own morals, doesn't it? It has
yeah,
to be in your own comfort zone, what you're happy with, and are they paying you enough? I think, and again, that's parents making that decision sometimes with quite young children. There are a lot of young children represented. So I think it really has to be a discussion and a thought process, doesn't it, about what you're comfortable with?
definitely. And going back to the thing earlier, don't do anything outside your boundary. I
No.
know it might be good pay, but depends again, pay is a lot of things, but I had to eat in the commercial for the Super Bowl and they had spaghetti on my plate. And fine, they might have put I had to eat a waffle. And I said, oh, before we start filming, I don't eat meat. So would I be able to have a different plate for a different plate because I'm not if you're putting the waffle on there, I'm not gonna eat it.
Oh, yeah,
So they
okay.
did make me a different plate. There was meat on the plate still. I don't think they got so I just kept the waffle on one side and kind of just sucked it up.
Yeah,
I
I
did
did
eat
similar actually with a ham sandwich. And they said, "Oh, can you bite it?" I was like, "Oh, I'm veggie, I don't really eat ham." They're like, "Oh gosh, sorry, we'll get." I said, "Well, just take the ham out. I don't mind biting a bit of buttery bread." And so they were quite good about that. And
that's good
if
when they're
I'd known though, I would have told them. If I'd known I was going to eat, I would have
yeah,
flagged it. So
but I
like
didn't
neither of us
know.
knew it would cut. Yeah, exactly. If you don't know, how can you? But there's
I had to
lots
eat
you
it
can.
like
Sorry, go on.
I had to eat it quite a couple of times, you know. But when it was like I think it was like 5 o'clock and we had lunch at 1, I was thinking, "This is fine, you know, I'm getting hungry now, I don't mind eating this." At first, I didn't realise I thought it was a potato waffle, so I dipped it in ketchup with
But it was a sweet one.
yeah, and I was like, "Oh," at least it was
Unusual.
not on my face like the take, it was on someone else's,
That's
and
good.
they just needed my arm, so it was
Mm.
just but I just didn't realise, and then from now on, I just didn't touch the ketchup, I just let the waffle.
I think it is interesting some of the things that you will do. Like you said, you probably tried not to react just in case. But you know, you do try and be
Yeah.
professional even when these mistakes happen. No?
Yeah, and we're all human, you know, we all make mistakes, and there was one comment, I'll read it out. It does have her name, so I'm not gonna say the name, but it
Yeah,
said
don't because you
generally
don't want to be creating any other trolls. Yeah,
it said generally, "It's hard to get background roles. To start off, you don't look like the average person. Get rid of my hair," but I've been told my hair is like my main casting like,
yeah.
not many people have curly
It's like
hair.
a signature look, isn't it? Yes. I couldn't, but I think that's the one I saw, and I couldn't believe someone was saying that to you.
This is the one you saw, yeah, I thought I'd screenshot it. And she said, "You have great deep set of eyes, but you won't get anywhere if you don't lose weight or replace it with some type of muscles." She said her sister is an actor through passion, and these are the things directors are looking for. I think that's completely not true. Don't think
I
because that's
agree
like
with you, and you're clearly getting roles.
yeah. So I don't really get why she put these are what directors are looking for. Because I've been casted for you know, I did get cast. I'm not. They released me. They booked me, but they had to reschedule the whole filming dates. Now I was going to play A level student, and they wanted more pictures of my hair. Again, it's my hair, so it's really hard. Why would I shave my hair off if that's what's
Yeah,
getting me roles? Y
I know it's crazy.
and, you know, I have dyed hair, so I have to keep my hair, like, dyed to the same length in my headshots, otherwise they're gonna look at me
Yes,
thinking,
yeah, that's
"Oh, your hair's a
important.
bit." Yeah, so I think it's every 2 months I try and
Yeah.
dye it a bit more and get it cut a bit more, so I look
To try and keep it the
similar.
same as your headshot, yeah.
Yeah, I did one
And that's
thing, she
hard
wanted
for
to
young people because really young children change very quickly. So they've got to
yeah, they
keep theirs
do.
updated quite often, yeah.
Yeah, I got told I need to do headshots every year. I'm thinking about 18 months for older people.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing with dyed hair, I wouldn't recommend doing it if you're like, I know you have to be 16, but I would never recommend doing it because it's so hard as an actor
Keep it up.
not to keep up. Yeah, and it's in the maintenance. But again, curly hair is all different every day. You know, I wake up with when I wash it every couple of days. It's still hard to maintain the same as my headshots. So I think casting directors and casting people do know that.
Do
So
you
they do
have
give a
several shots? Because I know I have my agent will submit different ones of me, like with my glasses for one role and with my straight hair and with my scrunched hair for different roles. And then I will say to her, oh, which one did you submit? So that when I go to the audition, I can look as similar to that type of look as possible. Maybe it's less so. I don't know. It isn't less so for men because they might be shaved or unshaven. Or so.
Yeah.
Do you have several slightly different shots, or are they all quite similar?
Yes. No, I've got, like, a business shot, like, a casual look, um, a quarter zip, I would say that's business, a suit. I have different looks. My hair's a bit different because when you do the headshots, I'm taking clothes off, so my hair's getting a bit more frizzier, so it's all a bit.
As you go, yeah.
But going back to the hate comments, I read
Mm.
them and I think, well, at least I'm getting roles because I saw on Instagram or somewhere there was an actor and she applied. I think she's not had any acting roles for 18 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm really grateful that I get auditions. I think someone told me once that auditions, my job is my audition, not the
Yes.
prize.
Yes, I've heard that a lot. Yeah, the
The
auditions,
prize is
that's
the
the job.
acting.
Mm.
So when I get an audition sent through, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I have to put my agents and things as
So they
VIP so
come
they
through.
pop
Yeah.
through, yeah. And, when I get that little orange star next to it, I think it was Audrey, this one, it was for a football thing. Um, it asked me if I played football professionally. I said, "No, I play it, like, with my brother." So I did submit it. Um, and it's just like the gold thing, and you see, like, all the information, you think, "Oh, they've actually looked at my photo and thought, oh, that's a win for me," you know? But,
So the
you
very thing that people are being vile about is the very thing that's getting you roles.
yeah,
The way
it
you look. It sounds like people are mostly commenting on the way that you look.
yeah.
And the way that you
I've
look
been
is clearly getting you cast.
and why would I change because of hate comments? Never. If I'm
Absolutely
getting
not.
roles, someone told me, to straighten my hair, what I'd look like with straightened hair, and I was like, "But that was getting me no roles, it would
It's
look
also
so."
going to damage your hair.
Yeah, damage my curls. One, I think it was the guy that was doing the Super Bowl commercial with, he was like, "Oh, you have great hair even though it's dyed, like, how do you keep it this maintained?" And I was like, "I actually don't, I have good hair products, but I don't know how it's not damaged my hair, the colouring of it."
Because probably if you were colouring and straightening it, then it probably would.
Yeah, it would look a bit.
Yeah. So
But
it sounds to me like the way that you deal with this hatred is just from an inner strength that you've built up since you were young, which all actors need. We hear about the thick skin,
definitely.
don't we? The tough skin. So you've obviously developed that and so well that this, you can talk about it quite easily. I wonder
Yeah,
how we can advise the
younger,
parents of young children to help them build this tough
resilient.
shell, but without ignoring these things or shutting them
No,
down. I'm trying to think what
it's really
nuggets of
hard.
advice we could give them. It is, isn't it?
So when I first started acting, I thought, "Oh no, they didn't pick me." I got really up. I started crying at one thing,
Yeah.
you know, and and I was 18, so it's I'm an adult. I shouldn't be crying over things,
We've all
but I
been
was just
there.
yeah, and, you get told very little about the job, so it's good that you
Mm,
keep detached. And once you've submitted it, you're done. Forget about
yes.
it because that's the worst I'm about. I'm like emailing them. You can't do that, unfortunately.
Parents are bad for that as well. They will be
Yeah,
jumpy at, we'll hear by this date, and I say, send the tape and forget it. But I think it's much easier when it's a tape. I think if you've been in person and connected with a lot of people, I love an in person audition, but I
I've never done
think,
one.
oh, have you not? Has it all been virtual?
Yeah,
How?
because I started when I was the
Wow.
only recall I had was the first recall when I did the Super Bowl. The other
Mm.
one, it was an online audition though, but that's it. That's only the recall I've ever had. I've never done in person because I've only started really at the end of COVID, so they're not really
Yes,
bringing
that
it.
makes sense. I think it's better for your mental health because you can just forget about it. I think in a way sometimes, and my daughter was saying this, you get attached to people more. I think in real life it's harder to forget about an in-person experience. But I love
Yeah,
it for the networking and the connecting. So yeah, it's
definitely. I'd
tricky.
love to get a chance to do one, but most of the auditions I get sent through are now online. It's just the way the world's going. Social media,
Yeah. Yes. For all its
phones.
faults. Yeah.
Yeah,
So do
and
you think, oh sorry, go on, go on.
I definitely think for younger children, I've seen a couple of parents controlling younger children's Instagrams.
Yes.
I think it's great. Like you're putting your kid out there, and they're probably not getting hate so much because you're controlling it. not I worry for them, but I wonder how if they build up a following when they're younger, how will it be like when they're older? And they've got these Instagram and TikToks accounts, and how if people start hating on them, how would they I don't think hiding comments is a great thing for if a kid gets a hate comment, not too young, but maybe, like, if they're in their teenagers, to tell them about it and talk to them. That haters, they're jealous,
And I think
of
if
what
they
you're
see
doing.
it, like they see and hear you speaking about it, it is there. We don't want to wish it upon them. But if
No.
and when it does come, if they're prepared for it, did you feel prepared to receive those kind of comments?
Yeah.
You did.
I when I started receiving them, I thought, "Oh, here we go," here we go again.
Okay.
I
You
there
felt
was
that
one video.
from your upbringing. You felt like
Yeah,
I've seen this in person, and so yes, gosh, I wonder that people are more likely even to do it or to do it more online because they're anonymous. They need to be
yeah.
less brave to say these things.
I could make an account in 5 minutes and go on TikTok and start trolling people.
Yeah,
You don't need any you just have to put your name, but you
I'm
can make
sure
a
you
name up.
wouldn't. Yeah,
No, I wouldn't. Just saying, but anyone can do it.
yeah.
I would never want to hate on someone because if I've been hated on, why would I wanna go and do it to someone else?
No, oh no, no, I'm sure you wouldn't. I was joking with you, but there are clearly people out there that's. I guess that's how they get their attention.
Yeah,
They want you to reply and be angry about it, and I just ignored something that well, I started responding, and then again, husband said, "Why are you responding to this person? It's what they want. Just ignore it." So, "Oh,
it
yeah, good
is.
point."
And don't
Yeah,
block them because they'll just make another account.
and I said that. He said, "Just block them," and I went, "No, I'm not gonna do that either. I'm just gonna leave it." But yeah, like I said, it
Because they'll
was
just go and
1 or
make
2
another account
comments.
in 2 minutes.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
really hard because TikTok need to or social media platforms need to enhance the verification to get on social media.
No, that's a good idea. Like you say, if people've got multiple accounts where they're doing this,
Yeah,
if
because I
that
have
could be
my
stopped,
main
that would be
account.
good.
I have my main account and I have my other account that I try and keep to myself and not my acting. So I can because if I'm on my acting account and I go on someone's live and I'm commenting, people might not agree with what I'm saying. I wouldn't say anything horrible, but then it would come back on my acting. So I try and keep it separate. But I think
That's
again
interesting.
I have
And
2
possibly
accounts.
useful. Yeah, I do. I have a
Yeah,
personal and an acting one. Well, actually, I have 3. but but is in I have a Instagram. One's for my personal and one's for an actor,
yeah.
and then I have the drama coach one. So it's very much my business and the things that I'm doing now. But it's very separate in my head, and I've often thought, should that be blended? And I don't know whether it's good advice or bad advice. But it obviously sounds to me, that for you, keeping things separate works.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want any do you know what I mean? If I became like this big star, I'm not saying I'm going to, but I wouldn't want it falling back on me. Because digital
Okay.
footprint, you post one thing on social media, that is staying with you for life.
I think that's very true for we were talking about, I think with Audrey Elizabeth actually, we were talking about young people and they don't necessarily, they want somewhere to put their nights out drinks with a friend. And that isn't necessarily their acting profile where they're
No.
putting all of their professional work and the things that they're doing. So I think
I do
that's
post.
useful.
Yeah, I do post like my day-to-day life on my acting account. Like I went to Disneyland the other day. I do post loads of
I think you
photos.
need to show you're a person as well, don't you?
Yeah, because you don't need to make it too artificial that you're just posting constantly about acting. You kind of have I need a balance, but then keep your balance, keep your keep your balance balanced. But for younger children, you might see something. I've probably done it before when I was younger and I saw something on social media, I found it funny and reposted it. You find things funny like when you're younger and it's immature because you're not fully grown up. So it's really hard to,
Yeah. Which is why the
but
parent
definitely
manager counts for if you are looking for one. I don't think, and another agent I spoke to, I don't think children need it. But if you want to
no,
have it and it's parent managed, I think that is the safest way to go about it
do
at the
it.
moment.
Yeah, definitely. I
Can we
would
move
never.
on then, Tommy?
Yeah,
I've
sorry.
realised that no, don't be sorry. I've gone down a complete rabbit hole with you and I've enjoyed it. I want to talk about your training because I know nothing about your training. I said no when
Okay.
you got into acting. What kind of training and preparation has helped you for this acting career that you're in now?
So I did 8 years of, no, maybe not 8 years, 6 years of musical theatre training, 3 years of ballet, modern and tap. What I find crazy, that was a long time ago. I did still put on my spotlight. I can still do a bit of dancing. I
Me
trained, I
too.
did it. Uh, so I did get like, as I said, going back to the thing, I did a HelloFresh dance video and I was panicking. I got asked to do, I haven't done dancing in 6 years. I was panicking. So I did
I
6 years
think
of
it's
that, and
in you
then
though, isn't it? If you've done it, if you've
yeah,
done the training. Yeah.
and I've had, auditions for dance, a featured film for a dance scene, and I thought, "Oh, okay, let's try our best." But I've done that, and then when I got older and I realized last year I wanted to get into it professionally and find an agent and stuff, I went to find an intense screen acting course to enhance that. Um, it was so useful. The teachers were so good. They It was a mix. It wasn't all, I was the youngest there, but it led up to like 60-year-olds doing it, 80-year-olds doing it. I think the eldest was, I think she was 78. And it
Brilliant.
was, and we only know them for a short time, but we got to connect. We got to do acting together, and it was no judgment because I feel if I see a group of teenagers in the street, they're judging me. I do not, I just feel like if you're with people that do acting, even if they're older, you feel comfortable.
There's a
They're not going to
connection
judge
there,
you.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Definitely between actors and performers. Yeah.
So I did that, and that made me a bit more strength, a bit more how to do self tapes and stuff. That's where I've got my background, my ring light. I do have natural lighting as well, but really hard in the winter months. So,
Yeah.
if you're working and they want natural lighting, you're like, got to do it really in the middle of the day. So I've done that, and then preparation for roles. As I said about for the commercial, Super Bowl commercial, and other commercials I've auditioned for, they say dress for the role. So I had like my white tie, my dicky bow. That was for not a restaurant, a party guest. And then if they want you like in a tracksuit, wear like a tracksuit top or something. Or if you're going for a business meeting role, don't wear the same thing because they want to see what you look like in a scene than
Mm.
you.
I love
So
that
always
part about self tapes. I can't get
you
rid
can
of any
dress up.
clothes anymore now because I'm going through my
No,
wardrobe. Well, what would this character wear? And I feel like you couldn't necessarily do that in person. You could do a nod to the character, but I feel like you can go a little bit more for a self
I
tape.
stuffed it.
And
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. And I enjoy doing it for my daughters as well, sort of dressing them up in that kind of vibe. But
Yeah,
now my
definitely.
wardrobe is bursting and I can never get rid of any clothes again because I just don't know what character might need them.
No. And if they say you need to make your own costume, because when I was doing the commercial, none of the costumes came, they were like, you need to bring a suit and you can't have logos. And, it's really
No.
hard to
Ugh.
balance your ward because I do wear quite a lot of Ralph Lauren for my day-to-day life, not my acting life. So I'm thinking, what have I got? There's not got any logos. So now I've got a box full of clothes just for acting.
Brilliant.
I've got jumpers, I've got hoodies, I've got my suit that has no logo anyway, but I've got all different types of looks, hippie, party goers.
Surprised that they took to. Oh, so was that just for the self tape? Because I was going to say for the Super Bowl they costumed you, didn't they? But
Well,
did you have
no,
to
this
bring
is
backups as well?
well, they sold they that the Super Bowl. The costumes didn't come in time, so I had to bring backups. Yeah.
No, because it was such a quick turnaround. So you've
Well,
always
they
got to
said to
be
me.
prepared.
Well, they said to me they've been shopping since I did their self tape for me. They had my own costume, but it just didn't. There's some bits didn't come. So luckily, I brought my own things, but they didn't use them. They had their own costume. But when I got there, this is the surprising thing: they had three of everything. One size
Wow.
your size that you give them, one size smaller, and one size bigger.
So they're prepared. Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
you can get measurements wrong. We're always being told to update, especially the young people, their height on Spotlight. And, sometimes I can mismeasure or misread something, and we're always checking them and double checking them. But that's interesting that they just didn't want anything to go wrong, even if it hadn't arrived on time.
yeah. So when I got there, my section was this whole red. And like, oh, yeah, you've got three of everything. And they don't give you one option. I had four different options. So they had four of different things. And they were like, had to make sure it was right. Because if there's not right, if it's not right, they send it back anyway. But
Yeah.
they can't start cutting it up and because
No.
it was all fitted to us. They
Oh,
like cut
brilliant.
yeah, it was all like crazily done. So that did surprise me that they had like 12 tops.
Gosh. Yeah, that surprises me as well.
But again, and they were like, "Oh, we forgot something in our studio. Let's just get an Uber to go and get it." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, we're getting an Uber to go and get it. Haven't got time to do it in a rush." And then they were like, "In 20 minutes, it would be here." She's like, "Oh, yeah, it's outside. Let's go and get it." And I was like, "What?" They were doing shopping as well and getting it delivered in Ubers. I think 6 Ubers came in that
Oh,
time I was there in 4
gosh. They
hours.
must have had a big budget for this, definitely.
Yeah, I did, I did look it up a bit. Like, because when you're doing something, when I got told I did a commercial when I was in the background, it was 250 grand. I thought, That's a lot for a week.
Mm,
When they told me about this and the buyouts and stuff, I was like gobsmacked.
yeah, that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Someone is at the front door.
Alexa,
But you've got
stop.
a visitor.
That's my dad. He just comes to my door.
Wrong.
Alexa,
Okay.
stop.
Something went wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be sorry. It's perfectly normal.
Look, it's gone now.
I think I've only got a couple more questions for you, really,
Yeah, go
Tommy.
ahead. Sorry about the.
No, don't be sorry at all. It's life, isn't it? So, what would? I got some quick fire coming up in a minute, and this
Okay.
might double up. But what would your advice be for someone who's starting out now? So you're quite relevant to what happens and how it works now. What would your main piece of advice be for somebody starting out in the industry now, perhaps a young adult performer?
Okay, I would say definitely worth spending your money on headshots because I have a lady that lives locally to me, and she does them for £110, and I got 90 photos.
Wow,
Yeah, and she's
that's
done a
reasonable.
couple with, she's done a couple for the same people that are with Audrey as well. And she's local, and she was really good. She said it was 2 hours, but it ran over. But getting connections and definitely great. You need to get her headshots that capture you.
Yes.
And if you're smiling, they don't want. If you're smiling, they want to see the capture of you, not serious.
I feel like there is a bit of acting involved in your headshots. Pick your outfits and have a little bit of character behind your eyes for
Definitely.
those particular sort of, no, I don't want to say stereotypes, but those sort of general roles. I think knowing yourself, I think when you can work out what you want and then go into those headshot sessions, I think that's really good.
Definitely.
That was a
I think
great piece of advice. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And choose your costumes before wear them. Have a look in the mirror. What do you think you're wearing? Why? Even though her name was Suzanne, my photographer, she helped me on the day because she was great. She was like, "Oh, these look great together. Do you want to try it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's give it a go." And my most favorite headshot is my green jumper one. It's the best one. I love it so much.
I like a green. I can't tell on here what color. What color are your eyes?
But they are green. They are green.
Yeah. See, I'm a bit greeny blue, and I always like a dark green top if I'm gonna. I don't know if I've got sort of free
But they
choice
do
for a
go in the
headshot or
winter.
self-tape.
In the winter they go brown, so it's really hard to keep updating.
Really? Oh, that's
My
really
spotlight is like
fascinating.
changing.
Yeah, you have to put
Yeah.
green/brown on your spotlight.
Have you seen the
Gosh.
new Spotlight update? It's really weird. I can't get
Oh,
it.
yes,
Doesn't.
I have just seen it now, but it's not live for everybody else. It's only for the actors, which I thought was interesting. Like if somebody else clicks on it, it's still the old style at the moment. So I think we've got to do
Yeah.
a few tweaks. Yeah, heads up, actors, you might need to go and tweak your spotlight if you're on there because you want it to come up in an order that you want. I was like, oh, I don't think I want
Yeah.
that video popping up first or whatever. So yeah,
No.
this is coming out in quite a few weeks though. So hopefully the actors will be all over it by then. But if you haven't, parents, check your children's spotlight or get the agent to and check it's
And
how
the
you
thing
want
with
it.
parents to check if you're like a solo parent or you're not on a low income, they do bursaries, and that's how I got my first one when I was 18 because I
Really?
didn't have a
Spotlight do
job.
bursaries?
Yeah, they gave me
That's
12 months for
exciting.
free.
This is
So
a
I,
great tip.
so I think they post on their socials, so do check. But I was looking through the website and they were like bursaries. I paid for 1 month and then because my dad's a single parent and I was 18 and you're still classed as a young adult, they did accept me.
That's great.
Even though I'm an actor, doesn't mean because when you say you're an actor, people go, wow, what kind of things have you done? How much did you get paid? And I'm
that
like,
was my next question as well, the expectations versus the reality. So you're kind of covering that now.
if you're a single parent or you're low budget or just apply, it's not hurting anyone if you apply.
That's good because another agent was talking about the pot of money. It can be expensive, especially if this is London recalls and you're not from London, etc. Or perhaps investing in headshots or lights or backgrounds. So I think that's a great tip. Nobody's brought that to me yet. Look for those bursaries and what funding you can get because there is some out there. That's brilliant, Tommy. Thank you.
And with headshots as well, there's a company, I can't remember the name of them. They offer every month to win a free headshots.
You can
And
probably
they
find
might,
some of that on the Facebook groups. There's some like parent-child modelling and acting Facebook groups. They might be on there.
be careful of scammers though.
Yes, this comes up. Red flags, shouldn't be paying a whole lot for a photo shoot that's an agency. Yeah, absolutely. And I tell people to get in contact with me as well. Like, I'm all over social media. If you're not sure about something, come and find me and ask me because yes,
Well, yeah.
there are absolutely scammers out there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
so
be careful.
many. Lucky it's not happened to me just yet, but there was someone who was
Good.
casting for a film. She was a casting director and she's done some big things, but then just didn't pay some of the actors, and it's like definitely be careful and definitely
That's
check your
difficult.
contract.
That is
Your
difficult.
contract is
Right.
definitely
Okay.
quick fiery
Yeah,
questions.
always. And that's why it's good if you have an agent to check these things out. But again, lots starting out don't yet have an agent. So it's the parents checking the contracts. So just, yeah, be wary, get somebody to double check it. Who's supported you along the way, Tommy? You've mentioned dads helping you or supporting you or finding bursaries. Who have been the people or the coaches that have supported you to get you to this point?
So it would be my dad. So my dad's a single parent. Um, this is probably that I was adopted, so that's a long another long story. But yeah, my dad and my auntie, those are the two people I would say, and my nan, those are the three people I'd say that supported me through it. Mostly my dad, because he's always there for me.
Oh, that's
My
lovely.
auntie as well, she puts me up in London for free, so I don't have to pay anything.
Perfect. Oh,
And
we
she's
could all
quite
do with that.
central. No,
Do you
she's
think
very
she'd put me
central.
up? It's
I
all right.
don't
No,
know.
I'm joking with you.
She's always like, if you've got them wrong and it's last minute, let me know. But
That's
I
brilliant.
feel guilty. I
Yeah,
feel
you don't
guilty.
want to take it for granted, but I'm sure she wants to
No.
help you, which is
Yeah,
really
she
lovely.
does. And
That's
I
really
always bring
nice.
some flowers over to say thank you. It was only,
Perfect.
£20 for some flowers. I know it might seem a lot, but in the schemes of things, when you've got a 4-night free stay, it's
Oh,
£5
that's
a
brilliant.
night.
You wouldn't be able to take the job without it, would you? And
No,
so
I wouldn't.
you mentioned training as well. So obviously you had dance teachers, and then somebody running your on-screen course. Was that
Yeah.
all very supportive? No negativity there?
No, definitely. Um, well, my drama teacher, I was a bit out there. I did send her an email about the things I've done. I didn't receive an email back. So, yeah. I know. Hopefully this doesn't go out the episode. Controversial. She was lovely, but I would thought, as I was
You'd
an
just like a little
ex-student,
email back. That's okay. We're allowed
yeah,
to say
a
that.
little
We're
email
allowed to say
back
that.
would be nice just to say, "Oh, I've seen it."
Maybe it
And
never arrived, Tommy. Maybe that
no,
email
that's what
never
my dad
arrived.
says.
You know?
Probably
And
didn't.
rejection is protection. Maybe it wasn't supposed to for whatever reason. Who
No.
knows? Who knows?
But I definitely think when I was younger, my dance teacher they were very supportive, but I wasn't in the industry when I was younger, so they didn't know,
Mm.
they didn't really know what I was up to. I would never thought when I was 10 years old that I was gonna work with an A-list Hollywood star when I was 19,
And it sounds like
you know?
you're really looking out for yourself as well and
Yeah.
finding your own way to protect yourself and, absorb what you need to and reject what you don't. It sounds like you're doing that really well.
And I do a lot of background roles and all the background background artists, and it's great, you get to know connections, but some of them can be really come down on you. I had a guy have a go at me. He's like, "You should not have called them asking for a role." I said, "I didn't." I asked if because I hadn't had any background acting for like 6 months. I was like, "What's wrong? Something? Do I need something with my profile?" And they're like, "No,
Yeah, I think
it's
they're
just."
people. It's good to get in contact and check things out.
And
Definitely.
they're like, "No, it's just been really quiet, but we'll put you forward." And I did get the job, and there were all these people that were in it's like a background artist group chat, and they all
Mm.
had this one guy came down on me. He's like, "You should never have done that. You should have never called them. You should only be positive towards them." And I
I
get you
think as
do
long
have
as
to,
you're polite, you're absolutely
yeah,
fine. You weren't sort of going,
no.
"Arr, why didn't I get this? And why
I just
haven't
said,
I
"Oh,
got a
hi, I've
role?"
not had anything in ages.
Mm.
I was just wondering, do I need to update my profile, my headshots, my measurements?" And they're like, "No, it's great. It's just been very quiet, but we'll put you forward for something. It's not guaranteed." I was like, "No, I know it's not guaranteed,
Yeah.
but
It
and I
puts
did,
you
but
back on their radar
yeah,
and also lets you know that there's nothing wrong with your file, your profile. It's just quiet. Sometimes the actors need to know that, don't they?
yeah. It's been, I've had one main acting job since this year. It's been really quiet, and things are picking up now, but it's still very quiet. I don't know about for you, Lisa, but it's
Yeah, I had a flurry and then quiet again, and the
yeah.
same for the girls. Yeah.
I had about 8 auditions in 2 weeks. I thought, well, this is good.
And then it
You know,
all
you,
dies down and
it
disappears.
dies down.
I think that's I call it waiting for buses. It's like a granny phrase to say, "Oh, you wait for a bus and then three come along at once." It's a
I
little bit
think
like that,
I
isn't it?
think I think what's her name? Anna Wintour said, she said, "Never chase after a man because then another man will come in 5 minutes." And the same thing, we'd never
How
chase
funny
after an
with the
acting role
jobs.
because
Okay, I
another one
like
will
that.
come.
I like that. Right,
Yeah.
you ready for your quick fire, Tommy?
Yes, okay.
So even if we've covered it already, or if something completely new comes to your head, just go for the first thing that
Okay.
comes up, just to shake it off at the end of a
Yeah,
slightly
course.
heavy episode. Okay. One thing that stands out to you in an actor instantly.
Headshots. You know, the headshots. Oh, do you mean
Awesome.
in person or online?
No, that's great. Either. Whatever comes to mind. I
I
like
think
that.
it's headshots. And how
That's
they
great.
behave in front of you.
Ooh,
Behavior.
good. Yes. And does that headshot match the behavior? That's a good one. A
Yes.
common mistake when people are starting out.
Paying for things that they shouldn't pay for.
Right. One thing you wish you'd known earlier.
Paying for things that you shouldn't pay for.
Fair enough.
I
Have you got an
paid for
example? What
things.
did you pay for?
Have you heard of, it's Universal Extras, and they charge £30 for a year. I thought, well, you know, £30 isn't a lot. But I've had no jobs with them.
Well, see,
So
most
it's a way,
agencies, I think extra aid or with supporting artists agencies don't charge you until you've had your first job, and then they take
yeah,
it
it
out
was
for your
only,
first
yeah,
job.
they don't.
Hmm.
And these ones did, and I thought it was a bit
Ugh.
dodgy, but they gave me this year free. So, but I was like, come
So
on.
that's a good tip. And then
Yeah.
finally, one piece of advice. Oh, did I say that? I said that. One piece of advice for somebody starting out. Or did I not say that? One
You
piece of
did.
advice was I did say that because you said the same thing. Don't pay for things. Don't
Yeah.
pay for things that you don't need to pay for. Oh, perfect. I mashed those up in my head. Oh, I think unless there's anything you wanted to cover, I'm nearly ready to wrap that up. Is there anything you wish had come up in this episode that
No, just keep positive. Even though if you're having hate around you, keep yourself positive. Even if it's spending, like parents buying their children coffee after a recall that they didn't get,
Oh,
or not a
yeah.
coffee, sorry. Do not buy your children coffee, but
It depends
hot
on the
chocolate.
child. One of mine is
Yeah.
born caffeinated and you definitely don't want to, but the other one needs it. So it just totally, the parents will
Always
know.
always treat yourself.
Yeah.
You know, after a recall, I got myself a little drink. You know, it's just,
Celebrate
you might have
the
not got the role,
stages.
but
Yeah,
yeah, you know, it can't happen
agree.
every time, but you know, sometimes when you really wanted something, just treat yourself and make yourself feel worthy, even though rejection is happens in this industry all the time. Make sure you feel happy with yourself, you're worthy. I think just keep yourself. This is one thing I would say: keep yourself to yourself, but then do connect with people. Like, don't be. I know I've met some actors who like to show off all their work, and it's like, oh, cool that you've done that, but that to me, my first impression of you, you're showy off. You're too
Okay.
big-headed, and it makes me step back a bit. Like with the Super Bowl commercial, I have people coming up to me, and it makes me feel really awkward because I have
Is
done
it?
it, yes, but it's an achievement I feel very proud of. I don't want to show it off because I don't want myself to seem,
I think you
like
need a balance, don't you? Because
you do.
yeah, it is really hard. And I love putting my drama coach stuff out there. And I feel really confident to do that. But I struggle when it comes to sharing my acting show reel, for example. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, and other actors will really want to share their show reel and
Yeah.
maybe not something about them as a person. So it's very personal, isn't it? And I think it is hard. So try and find the balance that works for you, I
Balance.
think. Yeah.
And another thing I found out, strangers, people that you don't know will appreciate what you've done more than the people close to you, because the people close to you just think of you as a person and you've done something good, but they don't recognize how good it is or what you feel good about it. But strangers that you meet in the street or meet on social media will appreciate you, not more, but they'll appreciate what you've done.
They see the tip of the iceberg, I suppose.
Yeah.
Rather than
And like
everything underneath it.
when you're with your family, they just see you as a person. They don't see you.
Which is
it's really hard.
important as well, isn't it? So again, it's so nice to have both. It's so lovely that you've got both your supportive family, but also the adoration of the public. Like fabulous, as long as it doesn't get too much, hopefully.
No.
Right. Well, where can people find you, Tommy, if they would like to follow you?
So my Instagram and TikTok are the same. It's my full name, Tommy Ferguson 1806. So if you do want to follow me, if you're an actor, I do like to follow you back and like have a little look through your page and see what you're up to, because it's great to see what other actors do.
I love that. It's very supportive.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
No problem.
I'll make sure that's in the show notes as well. A big thank you for such an open and honest conversation. There's so much in there around confidence, resilience, and navigating the industry, especially in today's online world. If you found this helpful, do feel free to share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes. And if you have a moment to leave a quick review, it really helps more people find this podcast. You can find more support, resources, and coaching through the links in my bio across all my socials. And I'll be back very soon with another episode of the Drama Coach podcast.